It's your boy, yadiiiigg, 4 eyes, 2 G's, and before we get into the video for today guys, please make sure to like, subscribe, and follow your boy in all social medias for more. But on to today's topic, and today we're going to be discussing XXXTENTACION, who within the last 24 hours has been shot and pronounced dead. Now, regardless of his controversies, what he may or may have not done in the past, or what you think of his music, it's fucked up to see someone die this young and pass like this, and I wish the best for his family and I hope that he rests in peace. Similar to my video series covering Lil Peep, I'm going to be talking about multiple aspects of the late artist's career. This video right here isn't going to be very emotional or sad, it's not going to be focusing on his morals, the allegations, or anything like that. Rather, I'm choosing to focus on what he was able to achieve as an artist with his time. And in this video, I wanted to discuss the icon in the making that X was, his impact and the legacy he will leave behind. I want to take it back to 2016 to when he was still in jail and his buzz was just starting to rattle off, and being able to witness this era firsthand was crazy. Although once X became super poppin' and normie, a lot of people turned on him and his music. It wasn't always like that, and leading up until his release, there was this movement that was taking place on the internet where no matter where you went, X was being hyped and praised as the next big thing, and it was bizarre how someone behind a jail wall who had no means of marketing themselves was able to slingshot into superstardom and transform from essentially an unknown underground figure to a cultural icon by the time he was out. It was such a frenzy witnessing X grow in this era, and there was a sense of community amongst the internet and his fans, as we all found out about X, helped to spread his music and anticipated his release. This era of him in jail will go down in rap internet history. Alongside other artists like Pump, Perp, and Ski, X spearheaded the Florida movement and disrupted the whole hip-hop scene on his come-up. And no matter what anybody thinks of him now, back then, whether hatred or love, there was no way that they could escape the mammoth of the X movement, and the legacy of this era will go down in history as a one-of-a-kind event, and something that could never really be fully understood or explained, how this guy went from basically unknown to a star all whilst in jail. Then we get to his post-jail career, and it's pretty crazy to reflect on the trajectory his career has had. Going from being a minor SoundCloud artist to an internet celebrity, there was a lot of pressure on him coming out of jail, and it was a very real possibility that he just wasn't going to be able to deliver and he would slowly fade into irrelevance. But the thing that I respect most about X, and something that I bring up whenever I'm discussing his music with a friend, is that you have to respect the fact that he really said fuck everybody and made exactly the type of music he wanted to make. It would have been easy for him to continue to make solo music along the lines of Look at Me and continue to make music in that style that garnered him notoriety, and it would have undoubtedly been successful, but instead he went out on a limb, essentially creating the polar opposite with 17, a strange and odd musical journey that is barely hip-hop with various grunge and R&B undertones that came together to create a sparse and depressing atmosphere. On the intro, X introduces the album as, "Here is my pain and thoughts put into words. I put my all into this in the hopes that it will cure or at least numb your depression." And this synopsis is pretty accurate. It's a haunting listen, and he would continue with this theme and similar sounds on his music that would follow. As I said earlier, X could have gone any way he wanted to with his music, and he could have easily found mainstream success by leaning into a more commercially appealing sound, but in doing it his own way and creating this haunting world of depression, heartbreak, loss, longing, and despair, it turned him into an icon for the kids. He became the figurehead of speaking to a generation about quote-unquote real issues, akin to someone like what Kid Cudi was for a generation or two ago. And this is what I think will make X go down in history more than anything else. The emotion he was able to fuel through his music connected with fans like nobody else really did from this era. Nobody at his level, with his reach, was consistently making music this dark and this honest. And say what you want, but you can't take that away from him. Having songs like Jocelyn and Sad going platinum is insane, and speaks volumes about how his message was connecting with the youth. And I think in similar ways to Peep, he will be forever immortalized by the words in his music and the emotion he bled through his art. And this was only helped by the messages he was spreading at his shows, through his social medias and whatnot. A message for kids to love themselves, believe in themselves, and just overall pushing positivity. And you can call it corny or forced or whatever you want to, but you can't really hate on the message behind it. And to his legions of young fans that hung on to every word he said, it was undoubtedly a positive message to be sending. His last IG story before his passing was him talking about setting up a charity event in Florida. He has also helped out there before, donating things like PS4s and TVs to a foster home. It was evident that he was making an attempt to change for the better, and ultimately trying to do good and spread positivity with the position he held. And again, you can call it a publicity stunt or whatever you want, but ultimately what he was trying to do and the message he was spreading had a positive impact and influence on the youth. And reflecting on the career he had up until his passing, I think you can look at it a couple ways. I think X's jail era, for anyone who was following rap on the internet at that time, will go down in history as one of its most surreal moments, as we saw this unknown kid get slung into stardom from behind a jail wall, all thanks to mass adoration and this huge push from the internet as a whole. But perhaps more importantly is the legacy he will leave through what he did after jail. Even with all of his hype and all these eyes on him, the music he offered the world was so raw, emotional and unfiltered, and because of this it struck a chord with millions worldwide, helping real people with real issues. And this, in combination with the messages he spread and his good deeds, helped X become idolized as a guide, as a leader, almost a bigger brother type figure for his thousands of young fans. And it's unfortunate we will never see where he could have taken his career, the good he could have done, and the man he would have become. And that's all from me today, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope all of you out there are dealing with this news okay and are getting through it. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and follow your boy on all social medias for more.